Hey guys, it's Danny Bell. I hope you guys are having an awesome day today so far. For today's video, I wanted to go over with you guys 10 villager yard ideas. In particular, doing a Farmcore theme just because we're celebrating the finishing up of our Farmcore Island Sugarbelle. We just completed that series and I plan on doing a final tour of the island here this weekend. I'm really excited before we move on to our new island theme and start a new series of build videos and ideas. So for today, celebrating Farmcore, you guys have been asking me a lot about how I come up with the different concepts for the island, how I plan everything out, and we'll definitely get into all of that as we start doing new builds with the new theme. Today I just wanted to go over some ideas. If you're struggling with creator's block, which I know we all get in that space, just trying to come up with some ways to give you some easy and fun ideas that you can do if you have either a rural or Farmcore type of island. So yeah, let's get going. I'm super excited. Okay, so number one, a chicken coop. Okay, so I have to say, guys, chickens are not probably one of the villagers I would normally choose for an island, but for Farmcore it seemed just completely perfect to have at least one chicken on Sugarbelle, and we chose Ava. I absolutely adore her. She's such a sweet little personality, and I wanted to create a space for her that was very cozy and of course related to a chicken coop. So using a lot of these creative items like these little zodiac rooster figurines, I absolutely love these. These are actually a yearly annual item that has been programmed into Animal Crossing New Horizons from the recent 2.0 update. You might have to do a little bit of time hopping to get these, and yeah, really love this item. I think they're totally passable for hens, even though they're actually roosters. And I love this Pro Design standee cutout in the background, you guys. Stop with the cute little chickens and geese. I absolutely adore this. I think it adds a lot to a build to be able to layer different things like simple panels with the little hens on them, and then being able to layer with some of the zodiac rooster figurines I think really adds a lot of depth to a build like this. Making sure that you're able to layer things with the right height and the right shape, I think makes a huge difference when creating a build, especially like this one when there's not a lot of terraforming going on. I also created this little space here with the farm fresh eggs. I wanted there to be a section, because this is right near the farmers market on the island, to be able to have people come up and take some of the farm fresh eggs, just like you would see in a rural setting in real life. So that was kind of the concept behind that, trying to use creativity with any of the custom design patterns like the little straw pattern, as well as mixing in things like these egg cartons, and then even using some creativity with this little chick gyroid makes it fun. Okay, for number two, we're actually looking at the fruit orchard that we created for Tangy. Oh my goodness, guys, this one took forever. There was a ton of terraforming going on in this area. It's actually a different play on a fruit orchard. I know fruit orchards are nothing new. This is something that those of us that have been playing this game from 2 years ago probably did that as one of our first preliminary builds, collecting all of the different types of fruit trees, but this one is a little bit different. I wanted to bring some depth and height. This is actually more of a vertical style orchard with different layers, making sure that there's different types of sections for the different fruit trees, and then also creating spaces like a little fruit stand, as well as the conveyor belt with the apples falling into the basket. I love the umbrella custom design pattern over here. Now, if you're looking for any of these custom design patterns for yourselves, I do have all of the custom design patterns listed in each of the respective build videos in the Sugarbelle playlist if you're looking for them. I'll also be doing a final tour of Sugarbelle this weekend, and I will be sure to list all of the custom designs used in the building of this island in that video as well. So you can see here we've got a lot going on. Like I said, lots of layers, trying to create space where there is more of a vertical effect for the orchard. I think brings a different breadth to the build instead of it just being the rows and rows of trees. I absolutely adore all of the fruit in Animal Crossing, and I think that it's something that we probably have all taken for granted at one point or another, but being able to have a rural island means that we can really go crazy with a lot of these types of builds, and I wanted to do this one with a little bit of a twist. And I think being able to create an area where there's a fruit stand, maybe you could create a little pastry stand for yourself as well, anything like that I think makes a basic orchard a little bit more interesting. It's always super fun in the Animal Crossing community for those of us to share ideas and just appreciate all of the amazing creativity that comes out of the Animal Crossing community. Okay, for our next yard, let's cover this sheep pasture. Okay guys, I love Dom. He was the #1 pick for all of the subscribers on the channel for a sheep villager. And guys, check out the little zodiac rocking chairs. I can't even. I wanted to create a space for Dom because he's a jock villager that has a little bit of camping twisted into the concept of a sheep pasture. I'm loving all of the wheat The wheat field item in this is just perfect. I love that we can customize them into different colors. Doing a spring color for springtime I think is the perfect choice. Obviously in the fall there's a lot of different colorations with the yellow tone I think would look fabulous in the fall time, but given that we're still in the warm weather of spring and into summer, I think the green works perfectly. Adding little things like the potatoes. I love the concept of using crops as sprigs like plants. The leaves are just so uniquely different on these potatoes compared to any of the other plants in the game. I didn't want to lose an opportunity to be able to create some leafy greenness that looks slightly different than what you would normally see from the flowers and the shrubs and all of those things. So as you can see, set up a little camping area with a little small, messy, but wonderful potato garden for Dom. I think worked out perfectly for him. Okay, so going on to the next concept, we wanted to go over a pig pen because, guys, a pig I think is a necessity for a Farmcore island. I love Agnes. We found her pretty early on in Sugarbelle, and I wanted to show her a lot of love and create a pig pen space for her. I was actually slightly torn when trying to figure out what to do with the design for Agnes's yard. I thought about creating just a pen with some fencing, but ultimately I decided that these little piggies needed to be free range, and so we have them just in a little mud puddle with some of the in-game pathing, and then just kind of using different coloration versions of the piggy bank item can give you a nice variety in a different look using the same item. I know that's something I talk about a lot on the channel, but never underestimate the idea of using different color variations or changing up a pattern on an item, especially if you're using more than one in a build. I think it can really add a lot of variety and an interesting effect to a build like this. I also created a little melon patch over here to the left in Agnes's yard. I love the beach ball. This is just simply a beach ball item in the green color that looks like a striped watermelon. I wanted Agnes's yard to look really brambly, a little bit overgrown, and I thought a melon patch is perfect for that because those are definitely a type of crop in real life that kind of grow crazy and all over the place. I also added a kitchen area because I wanted her yard to have a personal use area as well. As you know, it's really nice being able to have amenities like a kitchen or a workbench and storage shed out all around the island. It's definitely fun for everyday play. All right, guys, moving on to the next idea, a Zen Garden. Okay, so for any of you that have been following the Sugarbelle journey, we were beyond thrilled when we found Shino on one of our villager hunts. It was a little bit of a stretch because I know technically she's a deer villager, but because she has the horns, I kind of figured she would fly as a goat type of villager, and she just has such a real Zen vibe. If you've seen the original interior of her house, it definitely has a look of something that is sort of Asian inspired, just really beautiful and relaxing, that sort of thing. When we redid the interior of her house, we sort of kept with that concept. I put in a little gyroid garden over here. This was one of the builds we did at the beginning of Sugarbelle, so if you missed that video, please check it out. It was a lot of fun, and so I sort of made her area a little bit more sprawling than some of the other villagers because, hey, we have to spoil Shino, right? She's one of the new villagers, and I think she's probably got to be on the top 5 list for sure for most people. I added a lot of the cherry blossom items in this build and sort of color coordinated her house to give it that tonality. Now in this clip here, it's just the regular green trees. The dream of Sugarbelle is actually uploaded with the spring cherry blossoms, and I promise you guys, it's totally worth it to be able to upload your dream in the spring cherry blossom season because they're just so lovely, and sadly that season is so short-lived. Okay, for our next design, we did a country bayou. This is actually for an alligator we have on the island. I really wasn't expecting to keep an alligator on the island, you guys. I kind of fell in love with Roswell. He's a smug type, which I think is just so charming anyways, but I wanted to create an area for him that was sort of, I don't know, bayou and swampy, and that's kind of the effect that I was thinking in my head when we put all of this together. His interior is sort of more of a fish fry restaurant sort of style, so I kind of brought that outside by adding this little area where there's a place for him to cook up some gumbo and some fries and fresh fish that he's caught, all of those good things, and just sort of created this area on the beach to sort of wrap that into the concept of the bayou. Everything is sort of mossy and overgrown, and I even was able to snag some of the glowing moss from the Happy Home Paradise DLC area that I brought back with me and replanted here in his yard. So it's just one of those builds that I really appreciate being able to see it in the nighttime as well, because the glowing moss, you guys, if you haven't been able to use it yet in one of your builds, oh my goodness, it's totally worth it. It's absolutely beautiful. I added this little sugarcane area because since we're Farmcore here on Sugarbelle, I wanted there to be each of the different types of crops, some of which I dedicated to certain villagers, and in this case, Roswell is in charge of the sugarcane. I also love this little skull and crossbones. I guess it's called a creepy skeleton as far as the item goes, but I thought that was perfect for an alligator, just to add a slight little creep factor to the build to kind of warn the other villagers to stay away. But all in all, I'm really happy with how this came together, and I wanted to sort of give his house the look of an extra rustic, worn down barn area. Okay, for our next section, we did an ice cream parlor in town for Norma. For anyone that's never had Norma, she really is a treat. She's a pink normal type cow, and I really love her. I don't know what it is about the normal types. They steal my heart every time. They're just so sweet and precious and thoughtful. And because Norma is pink, I wanted to go all out because let's face it, guys, there's not a ton of room for pink decorating in Farmcore Island themes for the most part. So I wanted to give her a nice little spot in town, sort of creating her house into more of like an old-timey ice cream or malt shop, maybe like a milkshake shop, I guess would be appropriate for a cow. But nonetheless, we've used some of the plaza stands for the plaza game stands turned backwards to use as awnings, as well as these adorable ice cream pro design standees. I love the pro design standees. They just are a completely different height than the simple panels. I think they're a really great option, especially when we are watching our custom designs slots, because we're still fairly limited. I don't know about you guys, but I swear I blew through all of the extra custom design slots that Nintendo awarded us before the 2.0 update, so I really would like more, but happy that this came together for our cow Norma. Really liked the concept of being able to use the ice cream dessert displays that we got from the 2.0 update. I love that item. I think it's really cute. I love that it happened to come in a customizable pink striped pattern, which I thought was perfect for her. And so yeah, it's a very small space, and this is just an example of a way that you can use a small space to still create a great concept that you can use in a rural setting. And this one could even be used in a suburb or town core type of island as well. It sort of has a little bit of a twist on it. Just an example of how you can take a small space and still create something fun and interesting for your villagers on your island. Okay, for the next one on the list, we have horse stables. So Avi, I know horses are a big thing in Farmcore, so I tried my best when we were putting Sugarbelle together to pick at least one of the farm type of animals. And yeah, really excited to have a horse on the island. We ended up picking Elmer, so I wanted to create an area just for him. And oh my gosh, you guys, stop with the springy ride-ons. I love this item. I think from the very launch of Animal Crossing New Horizons, the springy ride-on was one of my favorites instantly. My only regret is that we can't ride on them. I so wish we could. They're so cute. And with the addition of these old-fashioned wagons, oh my gosh, guys, the possibilities are endless, and I'm super beyond thrilled. Also, as a bonus, if you're looking for a way to sort of fill in those transition areas that can be so incredibly awkward on your island, I created a horseshoe area as well as this little carriage track that goes all the way around Elmer's house. I figured it was fitting for him so he can go outside where he can do his exercises and trot around the track for a little bit. But yeah, this is again another sort of brambly style build. You could totally do a version of this that's a little bit more neat and tidy. I just really wanted it to be sort of crazy looking in here with a lot of weeds growing in and hay kind of sprawled everywhere. But like I said, totally doable to create a more polished version of this if that's what your island's aesthetic is. I tried to drop some items like the carrot and wheat all over the place, and then of course add in different sprigs of weeds just to sort of fill everything in. Okay, next on the list is a cow pasture. So we actually have 2 cows on Sugarbelle. I love the cows. I've actually really grown to love the cow villagers. I wanted to create a pasture area. This is actually Tipper's yard. Being that she's a milking type of cow, I of course wanted everything to be sort of milk themed, and I wanted to infuse this sort of milk stand idea where there's a truck coming up to pick up her oh my gosh, speaking of Tipper, what's up? Stop right now. How cute is that she's coming out to see us? Super adorbs. So you can tell here Tipper is on her merry way, but she has a little milk area. I wanted to create this space that was not only a pasture, but a little small retail milk stand here with milk and cookies, as well as an actual milking parlor area, which is over here on the beach. I always struggle to find ways to fill in the beaches, so this time around I decided to sort of pull the beach areas into the yard builds and kind of make them a part of the regular land area builds for each of the villagers. So we've sort of created this pasture on the beach as well, using a lot of these bathtubs, the Zodiac bathtubs here for the tourists, just to sort of make it have the effect that there's cows hanging out in the pasture. Lots of the wheat field item again, you guys. And then check out this little custom designed milk crate umbrella. I love it. It's one of my faves. Again, all of the custom designs that are used in each of these builds are in the build videos in the Sugarbelle playlist, so if you're looking for them, feel free to look them up. Oh my goodness, guys, I love the look of this. I like sort of the concept of how bright and cheery the blue adds to it. It just feels perfect for a cow. And what better cow to give that to than Tipper, because she's totally extra, right? All right, last but not least on our list, we have a veggie garden. I know this is sort of a broad concept. In particular, we have Ketchup on our island. I love Ketchup. She's just the most precious duck. I think she's been my favorite for a really long time. So I was beyond thrilled when we found her pretty close to the beginning of Sugarbelle. But yeah, I wanted to create a sprawling veggie garden. Now, obviously, there's lots of different versions that you could do, either just doing a singular type of veggie or kind of mixing it up and doing a whole bunch of different veggies. But I like the concept either way of making sure there was a little stand over here where you can purchase the veggies that she's growing in her yard, creating a little picnic area with some of the new food items. I've really enjoyed doing that since the 2.0 update. It's been a lot of fun having new foods to craft and use in our builds for decorating. I feel like it's really alleviated the only other option we had before, which was to decorate hats in the Pro Design patterns to be able to create different things like pies and all those things. So yeah, really loving it. But I'm really happy with how this came together for Ketchup. Like I said, you could totally create something like this if you have a bunny villager. Creating a carrot garden would be totally amazing. I also think adding little things like gardening boots and tools and this little faucet and maybe even some feed bags, I think probably add a lot to builds like this, just because again, Farmcore seems to lack a lot of terraforming. I noticed that this island was a lot more flat compared to some of the previous islands I've done in Animal Crossing, but all in all, I'm really pleased with how it came together for Ketchup. She totally deserves it. All right, guys, well, I hope that this video brought you some inspo if you're working on a Farmcore island for yourself. I always love to hear from you guys, so let me know in the comments, what have you been working on your islands? Are you doing Farmcore? And if so, what ideas did you come up with for how to decorate your villager yards? If you'd like to visit Sugarbelle to see these builds in person, I've listed the dream address here above for you. And if you like this type of content, please like the video and consider subscribing to the channel. I would love for you to come along with us on our new journey that will be starting here next week. I'm so excited for the new theme. All right, guys, well, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Wishing you all an amazing day. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.